Hey guys, welcome to this channel on Talk with Tyson. Today we have before us a famous personality. She is famous for her voice to saving the Goan biodiversity, especially when it comes to the Malay issue. She has a specialization in wildlife biology. She has now, even when I was coming walking with her right now, in a very short while I have got to experience a lot of information, even in the smallest of the minutest things, with regards to how the wines, the cork of the wine bottle is made, which is very fascinating. And most of us Goans, or the outsiders as well, who come to Goa as tourists, will miss on these things. We know Goa is known for its beaches, for its green forests, but there is something very deep inside all of these things. Do we have the knowledge of all these things or not? So today, to help us with this, we have Miss Nandini Velho. Welcome to our channel.
Thanks, Tyson. And it's great to be here. I'm very happy that people like you are doing talk shows about biodiversity because a lot of people find biodiversity to be a very niche and small issue. So I'm very
Correct.
happy that you are doing this with us.
Yes, it's our pleasure. And just to let our viewers know something about yourself, how do you go about in this field of your wildlife biologist?
Oh. So I have like basically different kinds of offices is like
Okay.
how I'd like to say. So I sometimes have an office in the forest
Wow.
where I go every day and I collect data, and depending on what I'm studying, supposing I'm studying trees or supposing I'm studying animals, that is what I'm counting or that is what I'm observing.
Okay.
And then you do it over a period of time. You come back with all that data, you have to analyze it, and I'm usually then based in a university setup with a mentor and advisor. Now in this case I also have students who are part of my team
Okay.
who are interested in wildlife biology, and then you typically write it as an academic paper, or you present it, or you share it with the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. That's cool. So now we have certain questions about the diversity in Goa. What are the unique features you would say Goa has, or what's so unique about Goa's diversity in comparison to that of India?
Um, so one of the unique characteristics I think that Goa has is that literally we are like a dot on the globe, or we're like a dot even
Very
in
true.
India.
Very true.
But like statistically, we have about 4% of the bird species
Wow. Okay.
of the world. And even if you look at the diversity of habitats, from lateritic plateaus
Hmm.
that are neglected, to tidal pools that I was telling you about, intertidal pools when the tide changes, to sand dunes,
Okay.
to multiple other habitats. We are just so lucky to be able to have so much in such a small area.
Okay. Okay.
So people, a lot of people, yes, they come to see and be at the beach, but a lot of people are also coming to see very specific species
Okay.
in Goa
Okay.
in a very short period of time, where you can go to multiple places. Like if you
Wow.
go to Kothari wetlands,
Okay.
it is one of the important bird areas of India.
Okay. Okay.
And there you can see farming, you can see migratory species, you can see Goa in all its beauty.
Okay.
And at the same time, you won't be very far from going to a completely different habitat, like
Okay.
just to seeing some of the fantastic sand dunes in
Okay.
the south. So I think
Okay.
that
Okay. Okay.
is what really makes Goa special.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. The second question now, that you have this specialization in wildlife, what are the wildlife uniqueness that we have here in Goa, and are we facing some kind of a danger with our wildlife in Goa?
So we have a lot of wildlife species. Like for instance, we have at least, just I'm just giving you dragonfly and damselflies. We have at least
Okay.
100 known species
Wow.
in Goa, and they also rely on small water bodies to
Okay.
complete their life cycles in the monsoons.
Okay.
Okay, there was a colleague of mine who was studying ants. His name is Pranay Baidya.
Okay.
In the period of his PhD, he found 13 new ant species from Goa
Wow.
and one from Netravali Wildlife Sanctuary that is not known anywhere so far in the world.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So we have a lot of biodiversity. One, two is that we have a lot of new things that we are still yet to discover
Discover. Okay.
and know. And three is that we have biodiversity in many cases that is not found, like I gave you the example, not known from anywhere else in the world so far for such a small state, which is quite
Okay.
incredible.
True. True.
Yeah.
True. The third question is, see, there are a lot of projects coming up here in Goa, and everybody is witnessing a very fast pace of these projects, whether it is the double tracking or whether it is the power line extension or expansion. And what are the dangers? Again, what are the dangers that we are facing with regards to these developments?
Okay. Um, the first thing is, I always feel that it's important to have a clarification
Mm-hmm.
between what development is and what is destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
True.
now a lot of people say that maybe these projects are for development, but if you are unable to demonstrate to the public,
Mm,
why are these projects important?
true.
Who is the beneficiary of these projects? How many people will it benefit? What are the true costs? What are the like a do a cost benefit analysis, right, of
Okay.
these
Yeah.
projects? If you're unable to demonstrate that to the public, then it is destruction,
Okay.
right? And
True.
I feel that it's important for us to have one, that distinction, because that's what the government says, that this is for development.
Mm,
But if people are on the railway tracks, if people who live by the side of railway tracks say we don't want this, then
true.
who is it for?
True.
If it's not for Goans, then why have it?
True. Now we have the development projects uh, that has especially affected us during the monsoon seasons. We have seen when there was a huge pour of rains. We have seen in Bambolim, the road was flooded, and not only over there, but even after you see when you come down from the Atul Setu bridge, you know, the water just kind of takes over the road. Uh, what can we say about it? Is it the carelessness of the projects, or is it that we have not yet learned about the nature, how it works, or what would it be?
One is that I think that like you don't need experts to tell
Mhm.
you
True.
don't build Atal Setu at the start of where a place which had mangroves,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct.
So you don't need experts to tell you that. You don't need the Smart City Commission to tell you that. You don't even need wildlife biologists like me or anybody else to tell you that. Anybody can tell you that you should not
True.
be doing that in the first place,
Mhm.
right? And in the second part of that response is that whatever happens is that we're also living in a time of climate change. We are extremely vulnerable given
Mhm.
the situation that we are in. Like we are in Panjim right now,
Mhm.
right? And Panjim is one of those climate change vulnerable
Okay. Yeah.
cities
Yeah. True.
of India and of the world, right? And so we have to account for this. And the irony is that if you look at the Portuguese when they came,
Mhm.
some of the early Portuguese chroniclers used to write that Panjim was a city that never got flooded.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then
That's
today, if you
interesting.
look at one rain that happens on 18 June Road, where water is in the shops, you realize that it's an abject failure of like urban planning. It's an abject
Okay.
failure of the government being able to tell us where is the drainage, where are all those maps, put it up to citizens, show them where it is, get
True.
some of
True.
the very, very good planners that we have in Goa itself. Like there's Dean
Okay.
de Cruz. There are so many Goan architects who can be part of this planning
Okay.
um, program and this planning mission. Um, but instead, we just create these superstructures, right?
Mhm.
We'll create a superstructure that, okay, this is what we require for the city. And like if you even if you look at Panjim today, it's a smart city, but it's a city that has gone exactly in the opposite direction to what it
Okay.
was 20 years ago. I would say like
Hmm.
10 to 15 years ago, we were in a much better situation than what we are in right now.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, and the final question, um, what would we have to do in order to, save the natural habitat, the natural heritage that we have right now, with the pace of this development that is taking place? Like, maybe if whatever comes to your mind, like right now we are in Panjim. How would someone in Vasco, how would someone in Margao, how would someone in Panjim itself also appreciate and protect this diversity?
Um, so one thing I think that is common to all of us is that what makes me really proud as a Goan is this idea of citizenship
Okay.
that we've always had, right? So when if you look at people, okay, coming together for Mole, yes, we've been coming together. It's been creative. It's been inspiring. But
Okay.
this has also been happening from the 70s, right?
Okay. Okay.
You look at environmentalist movements, you look at citizen-based movements. It's not run
True.
by a certain amount of experts. It's run by ramponkars. It is taking the issues that are close to what you see
Okay.
and acting on it,
Okay.
right? And I feel that is a history and a tradition that we have.
Hmm.
And today, even though the times have changed, we are living in very, very difficult political and social times in the state. I feel that is something that we should all hold on to
Okay.
and take that respect of what our parents did, what our grandparents did, and really exert that sort of citizenship. Like, how do you actually be a good citizen for your city, for um, problems that are happening in your village, for things that you care about? You know, even if you care about one small piece of land, like say you care about 10 trees, how do you be a good citizen with respect to that? So I think that is one thing that would really help us. And the second thing is that I feel that it will really help us is if we get smarter, uh, less morally corrupt politicians
Okay.
into our system. I know with what has happened so far, it's a tough ask. But I do feel that if people can be politically active and if people can exert some influence to in the political process, whether it is standing, whether it is showing any kind of leadership, doing behind the scenes mobilization to really get first class governance for first class people, because I think we're stuck with
Okay.
third class governance for first class people. Yeah.
Wow. Well put. Well put. So with that, we come to the end of this session. But in the meanwhile, I think so we'll have a walk with Nandini and just
Sure.
check out some more very interesting stuff that she has got to show us.
So this tree you might have seen. It's
Uh,
called the Indian rain tree.
Indian rain tree.
Not Indian rain tree. It's called the rain tree.
Okay.
And see, it's so interesting because that whole line of the road
Okay.
from I think has I think 1930s onwards they have planted these trees. So these trees are very very old.
Okay. Okay.
And I think it was in late 1990s that they wanted to cut some of these trees, but citizens had come together to avoid cutting these trees. And this rain tree is actually from South America.
Wow.
Ani, it's from South America and they call it rain tree. You know why?
Wow.
Because there is one insect there where it releases drops of water. So when you're under the
Oh,
tree, you feel like
it's
it's
raining.
raining and you're wondering
Okay.
where the
Okay.
water
Okay.
is coming, but it's sometimes like coming from insect pee, people say.
Okay. Okay.
So here you don't get the insect, but
Okay. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
called rain tree.
Rain tree. Okay.
And see in the night, in the evening,
Okay.
the leaves are closed. This-
Hmm.
You saw, no? Otherwise,
So
in
right
the
now it's closed.
yeah, right now it's closed in the morning. They
Yeah.
open, and right now it's flowering also.
Is
On
it like
step,
that touch me not kind of an effect?
like the touch me not, but here it's in the night it closes for because there's no photosynthetic
Photosynthesis. Okay.
activity.
Okay.
So
Okay.
to
Okay.
um, like what to conserve for transpiration.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So that is one. Then more rain trees, very easy to identify because they have this a nice canopy architecture that goes
Okay.
out like that broadly.
Okay.
And this, so coconut trees. But the coconut tree, the very cool thing about it is, so there are some 4 million pollen grains from each coconut tree.
Wow. Okay.
So that's why also some people might react. This one is that Indian cock tree that you were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, yes. So this is the one that really got me excited.
This is really cool.
Yeah. So let's check out something very interesting that Nandini has to show us. Yeah. Okay.
See, so these are the flowers of the Indian cock tree.
Okay.
They
Wow.
smell actually very nice. Some call, so this is what they say, that when it initially flowers, it's like this, and then it turns a different color. See,
Okay.
pinkish when it grows older. So some people say it's maybe after pollination it goes, but we still don't know what pollinates it. And
Okay.
so far, it's also very difficult to find the fruits of this tree.
Okay.
So we don't know how it actually reproduces, because it's come from Southeast Asia, like from
Okay.
the Burma area. And this, I was saying, is the cork that is, it's not as great quality, but you can make cork out of this.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And this is very nice. And nice smelling also.
Yeah. So is this the only tree that we can make a cork?
In the Mediterranean, it's a different cork species
Okay.
that has a very, very thick outer bark.
Okay.
So that is one of the cork species that
Okay.
is
Okay.
used to make. And now, because of people have overexploited cork and there's a huge industry, there's a lot of rubberized cork that is used as a
Oh.
bridge.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So now, if you
Correct.
see
Correct.
wine bottles and all, they come with a rubber
Correct. Correct.
thing.
Correct.
Yeah. So
And
that.
you were trying to figure out something with this. What
Yeah.
was the thing?
So basically, it's also a very beautiful flower, because you can see the stamens and the anthers. And see, you could see like maybe there was an ant going in here
Hmm.
to try and get some of the nectar. Oh, the ant fell off. Um, but it has a very, very beautiful, actually, a very, very beautiful um, flower that you can dissect and see the parts clearly of the
Okay.
pollen, right?
So this is a
And
female one.
no, see,
How?
this is the male,
Okay.
yeah, and the female parts
Okay. Okay. Okay.
in it. And this is when it grows older, it turns this pinkish color.
Pinkish. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Here, Tyson, can you see this here?
yeah.
This is something called the tendril.
Okay. This thing.
Yeah, and it was something that some of the earliest, like Charles Darwin and all, also studied and wrote about the tendril.
Okay.
And can you see it twirls one side, then it
Mm-hmm.
has this, and then it twirls the opposite side. So
Okay.
tendrils across all species, they usually have this coiling structure.
Okay. Okay.
And this was supposed to be the invention. You remember when there were telephone lines that had the
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So why did they not all get jumbled?
Correct. Correct.
Right?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Because they use the inspiration from the tendril.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So if you notice the telephone lines, you would have noticed that they also have this torsion here, right?
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why
Correct.
they
Correct. Correct.
just stayed
They stay together. Yeah.
together, but they were quite long.
True. 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 True.
So they actually were inspired by the tendril
Wow. I did not know that.
also. This y'all also will know.
Which one?
This one, they make tea out of it. It's very common in Goa also.
Oh. Oh yes. 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 Yes.
You can boil it and you can make purple, you get one purple juice kind of thing. And it's a very nice experiment to do with children also,
Okay.
because you can boil it, it becomes a nice blue color, and then you put a bit of lime and it turns a different color.
Wow. So just of
From the
this,
pea
only of
family.
this.
See, can you see? It also has these pods.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's from the pea family.
And so you take only the
Only
flower,
the flowers, yeah.
only the
And in the
flower.
monsoon, this is something that you'll see in the monsoons in different places. Then
And
there
yeah, you were speaking about these trees, right? You were
about the casuarinas.
casuarinas, okay.
So the casuarina I was saying is not native to India, um, and but it was brought to India to do afforestation against on beaches,
Okay.
to like to protect the beaches from soil erosion and
Oh,
everything.
okay, okay, okay.
But like I was saying, no, we have the father of sand dunes and
Okay.
sand dune ecology in Goa,
Okay.
and Dr. Antonio Mascarenhas, and he and a lot of other people have shown actually the best way to protect a beach is to regrow the sand dunes.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
then there's no there's no sand that goes onto the road and many other
Oh, true.
places.
Correct, correct.
And it's one of also the cheapest
Mm-hmm.
ecological mechanism, like a cheapest ecological solution
Okay.
that doesn't require just mindless deforestation and planting for the sake of planting or planting for the
True.
sake of showing. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
This is a creeper. It's called Thunbergia. It has purple flowers but not flowering so much anymore.
Okay.
And when you go from Panjim and opposite in Beti, you can see all those creepers on the trees,
Mm-hmm.
like a veil of creepers on the trees and overgrown. The trees are overgrown. It's usually this creeper that has gone all over them.
Okay, 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 okay.
So it's quite common also on people's houses.
Okay.
Um, but it's actually flowering better. I never smelled.
Are these used for tea?
No,
No.
no. That's why it's important. That's why it's important to know what you can
Yes.
have and not
Know the
have.
difference.
Yeah. So this year, if you see up, this tree is found very commonly in the northeast of India, and because coconut trees are not uh, native or not as common to that part,
Okay.
they say this is the most close resemblance of a coconut tree via that, not the look of the tree, but the nature of how the fruits are. So this is actually
Okay,
called
okay.
Buddha's coconut.
Buddha's coconut. Wow.
Buddha's coconut. So it's big and round, and then when you cut it,
Mm-hmm.
it has like these teeth projection coming out, and inside that you can eat the seeds.
The seeds.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay,
So
okay,
it's
okay.
pretty nice. It tastes like an almond almost,
Wow.
and it grows very tall. So you can see those roots. They are called buttress roots.
Okay.
I don't
So
know.
let's go near the roots.
Yeah, they are horizontal, right? And they go out like this. So they are called buttresses of plants, right? And they don't go like so deep in, but they spread out like this. So sometimes the roots can go up to a very large radius, many meters, and they ensure that the plant doesn't topple over, because these can be very very tall trees, will become very very tall trees in rainforests and tropical forests. And so the roots will ensure that they have enough of structural support to make sure that the plant doesn't topple over.
Got to show us. Till then, please do subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned for something more, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.